is not a state of just one people. Women matter in this state, and we are employed, and we vote.
Yes, and you raise taxes.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I can assure you, Johnny realizes the state is made up of far more individuals than just Caucasian males. I can assure you that.
Well, it seems to be they have his ear more often than not.
I'm sorry?
It seems to be that they have his ear more often than not. And it would be nice for him to listen to other people.
When our forefathers wrote the Constitution, women were considered chattel, and slaves, primarily African Americans, were considered animals. And I'm going to tell a story that my late husband shared with me regarding the property in upstate New York. On my husband's mother's side of the family, Katrina Swanson, whom our organization Katrina's Dream is named after, they were involved in the bead purchase of New York City centuries ago. And we still have some property in upstate New York that goes back to Dutch charter. And when my husband was about 7, 8 years old, at the old house called the Seven Gables in Kinderhook, he came across slave chains in the basement, and he was not aware of what they were for, so he went to Great Aunt Hattie and he said, Great Aunt Hattie, what are these for? And she said, oh, William. Now, I'm paraphrasing this, mind you, but this is how he said the story. Oh, William, those were for the slaves, the bad slaves. But let us be clear, for the reasons why the North never got into slavery, it was not profitable from what we could see. For the very first winter that we had slaves, we did not put them in the barn with the cows. We left them outside. The cows would give us milk. The slaves were going to cost us money, so they died that winter in the fields. So, when you think about this is the same property that they came to draft the Declaration of Independence, the 7th meeting for the Declaration of Independence, and that at that time our forefathers of this nation did not see women as equals. And all we have to do is remind ourselves of what John Adams' wife wrote to him, don't forget the ladies, and what his response was. Then we know that women and slaves were deliberately left out of the Constitution.
This is Barbara Tillman. I am the Outreach Director of Georgia, and I am pretty much a lifelong resident. My biggest concern is that over the lifetime of her career, a woman can expect right now to earn about $423,000 less than a man, using the current ratio of average male to female pay. That's a lot of money. That's a retirement account for a working mother, let's say, who doesn't have any other sources of income. That should really be getting everyone's attention, especially this baby boomer generation, because we're all retiring right now, and I know a lot of us could have used that difference in pay. It's much more likely for a woman to slip into poverty after a marriage breaks up, let's say. These are things that are really affecting poverty. There's a ripple effect. It does to the standard of education, because we all know that Title I schools are generally filled with children who live near or below the poverty level. It has an impact across Georgia's economy that I don't have enough time to go into to stress to Mr. Isaacson just how incredibly important it is to level this playing field and for the first time in forever get women on the record as being equal to men. The symbolic importance of that cannot be overstated.
And while slavery is abolished, even the 13th Amendment did not absolutely abolish slavery. It created the prison industrial complex. And a paper I hope to write one day and present is how to go about bringing global peace, utilizing the United States of America, which is a post-colonial, slave-based economy, turned pipeline to prison industrial complex of the world's largest military power. And the two shifts that need to take place are, one, passage of the Equal Rights Amendment, as it will empower women through the gender pay gap, which is the hidden face of racism as it continues on today. It will reaffirm the rights of men, as the 2011 Walmart versus Dukes case is now being cited as primary authority to reopen cases filed by men as well as dismiss them, and to provide a constitutional amendment for the Supreme Court justices to rely upon as other issues are addressed, as we accept the LGBTQ community as normalized in our society, and to a true abolishment of slavery, which would mean complete prison reform, so that we can bring about world peace, because so many people around the world actually look to America to set the status quo. And when you go to countries like India, where I've traveled to, and you see how women are treated, it's not that I expect India to embrace Western society, but being that we all mirror each other, and supply and demand is also used in the economy, what we do here affects people there. So if we're not treating women as equals here, when other countries look at what's taking place here, they know, even if the average citizen doesn't know, in the governments over there, that women are not equal. And they know that we have more prisons than anywhere else. So we need to change those two elements. So my focus is women's rights, because the more we have women empowered here, the more likely we are to have positive change in our government. Right now we have a very patriarchal society. We have the Christian right wing continuing on with racism and oppression of women. They're denying women access to health care. They justify the killing of young black youth. They create laws that are unjust to keep people imprisoned and enslaved. So for me, that's why I see sexism and racism intertwined, because it was part of our original Constitution and not much has really truly changed.
I academically studied science, and while I was at the university, I was welcomed with open arms into the department and felt pretty much like an equal. But once I graduated and went into business and science, it changed completely. I had all these pie ideas that, yes, we have won the fight. We have not at all. And it was persistently paid less than other men. And not treated with the same kind of respect. You can't legislate respect, but you can equal pay.